I have really tried to like this viral cushion, but I just don't. This red cushion has been all over social media, but is it actually good? It was making the rounds on social media for being super full coverage and looking really flawless, so of course I bought it to try out. I bought the mini size in shade 23N Sand. First, let's go over a bit about the cushion. So this cushion comes in so many shades, which is fantastic because Korean cushions generally come in very limited shades, maybe 3 to 5 if we're lucky. But I know that when TIRTIR first came out with this, they received some criticism for their very limited shade range, so they fixed that and came out with loads and loads of shades since then, catering from the very lightest to the darkest, which is fantastic. This cushion is full coverage, which is pretty crazy because I've not come across a full coverage BB cushion before. This one is quite unique, I think, in that regard. It covers up my acne scars without me needing to go in with concealer. It gives a satin matte finish, not very glowy, not very matte. Something I do like about this is that it doesn't have a very strong scent. I'm sensitive to fragrance, so I don't like it when my products smell heavily scented, but this has a very light, sort of fresh scent, and I don't notice it throughout the day, which is great. I filmed a shorts video doing a first impression and 8-hour wear test with this, and I didn't really like how it looked on my dry skin. And with my first impression of this, I did find that it had very, very good coverage, but it did cling to some dry patches, particularly around my nose, my chin, and as the day wore on, it just looked heavier and cakey and dry, essentially. And from that try on, I got a bunch of tips from people who also have dry skin about how they made it work for them. So I've tried this cushion out multiple times since then, and unfortunately, I still don't love the way it looks, but with those application tips, I have found a way to make it look better. So before I apply any makeup, I always do a full skincare routine with toner, essence, serum, a rich moisturizer, etc. So that's already applied before I started doing this. Then I go in with a moisturizing primer. I'm using the First Aid Beauty Coconut Skin Smoothie Priming Moisturizer. This just adds extra moisture to my skin before applying the base and helps prevent the cushion from clinging to as many dry patches. When you apply this cushion, I recommend not going in directly to your face. So not putting the pad in the product and then directly putting it on your face. That is the approach that's going to give you the most amount of coverage, but it is also going to look the most cakey and the most makeup-y and not give you the most natural looking finish. If you want a more natural finish with slightly less coverage, but still very good coverage, then I would recommend doing this instead. This product packs a punch. So I'd recommend going in very lightly with only one tap of the product and then tapping off the excess on the back of the cover. This will ensure that you don't get too much product going on your face, and patting it on the cover will really help to evenly distribute the product on the cushion before putting it on your face. As you can see, even though I've done that, I still get a lot of coverage on my face. There is a lot of pigment to this product, so a little really does go a long way. As you're blending it out, you can see it just spreads and spreads, so you really don't need much. It really does cover up my acne scars quite a lot immediately, which is great. If I find I need more coverage, then I'll just go in with the tip of that cushion applicator and tap very lightly on the back of that cover where I evenly disperse the product, and then tap very lightly over the areas which I need more coverage on my face. And I just keep going back and forth from the product on the back of that cover to my face. This is how it looks on half of my face. You can see it's really evened it out quite a lot, and it already looks pretty flawless in my opinion. You can see that satin matte finish already. And then following through, I do the same to apply to the other half of my face. This is how the cushion looks on my face, fully applied. It looks pretty good, pretty flawless, nice even coverage. I think this application method really helps sheer the foundation just a little bit so that it looks a little more natural. The only areas which are a little bit dry are around the sides of my nose, which I did focus on with the primer, by the way. It grabs a little bit to the dry patches on either side of my nose. It's gathered a little bit in between my eyebrows, but it looks okay on the chin and everywhere else so far. I am going to powder very slightly just in key areas to take away a little bit of that shine. And this is the finished look with my makeup all done. With the full makeup on, I feel like it looks pretty good overall. It's smooth, it looks pretty flawless. The only thing I noticed is that it is a little dry on my chin already, and the time it took to do my makeup was probably less than an hour, maybe like 40 minutes, and it's already starting to look a little dry on my chin. I'll keep this on for a wear test and update you at the end of the day. Checking in after 11 hours of wear, I'd packed up my filming setup, so please excuse the change in lighting. It doesn't look too bad from a distance. The coverage hasn't budged, there's been no fading. I didn't touch up throughout the day, so now there's a glowier finish. It looks alright until you look a little bit closer. There are patches of dryness around the sides of my mouth, at the nose and the forehead, and it overall just looks dry and textured. There are definitely some flaky parts that weren't there at the start of the application. Granted, this is 11 hours into the wear test, but there are other cushions that I've worn that just don't make my skin look this dry after wearing it for the whole day. So what are my final thoughts on this cushion, and do I recommend it? If you have dry skin, I would say that there are better cushions out there, and I wouldn't really gravitate to this one. My favourite for a satin matte finish, which looks really natural and doesn't really cling to dry patches, is the Remand New Zero cushion. That one looks really, really good. I've received compliments on it before. Lasts all day, looks really great on dry skin. Even with all the base prep and the application methods, I find that this just doesn't look that great on my dry skin. I find that this does cling to dry patches, and it just ends up looking drier and heavier throughout the day. I don't, however, think this is a bad product. I think if you have maybe normal to oily skin, you might really, really enjoy this, especially if you're looking for full coverage. I also think it lasts quite well. I didn't notice any fading or anything throughout the day. But I would only recommend this if you're after that flawless makeup-y look. If you want a product that looks like real skin and not really like makeup-y at all, then this isn't really for you. And that concludes my TIRTIR review. It's a shame it didn't work out for me because I did really want to like this, and everyone seems to be having such great results on it all over social media. But unfortunately, it just wasn't the right fit for my dry skin. But just because it didn't work on my dry skin doesn't mean that it won't work on yours. Makeup, of course, behaves differently on everyone's skin. These are just my 2 cents. If you enjoyed this video, then please give it a like and a thumbs up. Have you tried this product? If you have, I'd love to know how you got on in the comments below. If you enjoy makeup and skincare reviews, recommendations, etc. with a focus on KBeauty, then you are in the right place. If you'd like to see more, then stick around and subscribe. Thanks!